It's time to talk about the hidden dangers of opioids. Addiction can happen fast. Dependence can start in as little as 7 days. So talk with your doctor or dentist about alternative pain control treatments. And if you need to take opioids, learn how to safely use and store them. Opioid addiction is a problem we can't ignore. Take control of your care. For more information and resources on opioid addiction, go to cfbhn.org.
Central Florida Behavioral Health Network is a managing entity contracted with the Department of Children and Families.
Use only as directed.
Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have very exciting news right here in the Metal Hammer of Doom. Breaking news, if you will. I'm not going to play the Flintstone sound because, quite frankly, I'm not ready to do that yet. But right here, right now, on the Metal Hammer of Doom, I have very, very exciting news. I have balanced my checkbook. Yes, I have been furiously going through my checkbook for the last half hour while listening to Machine Messiah by Sepultura, the album we're going to review tonight, and I couldn't find where I went wrong, what money I seem to have lost between my checkbook and what it was saying on our bank statement. And then I suddenly realized what my error was. And when I fixed it, I found the money. It's all balanced. It's all reconciled. That's it, everybody. That's our show. I'm going to bed. Wait, no. Maybe we should play some music instead. Is that cool, Robert Cooper? Is it cool that we play Sepultura, Machine Messiah, and talk about it, instead of me just going to bed excited that I finally was able to balance my checkbook? Are you all right with that?
The actual irony of all of this is that you've been talking about it for the past 3 minutes, and within the minute and a half that is our intro, you managed to solve the problem that you could not have within 3 minutes. So what does this all tell me? This tells me that you really need to be listening to Clutch, or getting ready for this, or getting ready to open a podcast if you really want to solve the problem. Like, I think you should go ahead and go into the medical field and just schedule a podcast every day. I mean, it's the equivalent of, like, shower thoughts, podcast prepping thoughts.
Do you want to know what the mistake I made was? It's very simple. Mistake. It's really like, it's one of those things where you look at a balance sheet with pluses and minuses. If you put a plus where there should be a minus, where there should be a plus, it can really screw things up. I was telling you about $30. Well, I converted a minus to a plus. Suddenly, Seymour, I found the missing money that I was looking for, and now we're all good. That was it. I had a deduction. I should have had an addition. What do you think about that, Cooper?
I think this is telling me all about the adult world that I really need to know. For the love of fucking God, make sure the pluses and the minuses check out, because if they don't, you're going to be staring for a half hour of a night after a long day's work, pulling your hair out.
No response on that one, apparently.
Apparently Mark says he froze, because I was going to be like, pulling your hair out. And I was just going to wait to see who in the room was like, well, hair.
Introduce me, Coop.
And the co-host of this podcast, along with me, the other co-host, Robert Cooper, is the man who runs the Source Material podcast Monday nights on the Radulich Broadcasting Network here on blogtalkradio.com, Mr. Jesse Starcher. How do you do?
You know, what is funny, many times in your life you will associate listening to something with what you were doing at that time while you were listening to it. Now, Mark Radulich is going to associate Machine Messiah with balancing his fucking checkbook. That, I don't know, actually I do know. That's kind of fucking sad.
I think I don't know if I ever told this story, but just I bring the fucking room down. I actually can't listen to the Spiritual Healing, the song off of Death's Spiritual Healing, without thinking of my dying grandfather.
Oh.
So that was because that was like that's like the song I remember on my iPod as we were on the way to go see him the last time. Well, I mean, it's especially when you were listening to the song, it's like, oof. This is RUFF. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how you can link a song to, I guess, a certain moment in life. That's why, in a lot of your romances, a couple will have their song.
Oh yeah. Me and my wife, way back in the day, way before we got married, we had this rough spot, and fucking Bush's 16 Stone was over and over in my CD player, and I can't listen to that album without getting pissed off. So there are definitely more happy things that I associate with a lot of stuff, though. But it seems that those sad ones really do stick out.
Well, yeah, it's very much like when you talk about a film or something. A lot of times you talk about what was good, but what really sticks out is the bad moments. And I feel like that's because in our society, especially like say in the workplace, we automatically assume competence. So we really kind of overlook it. What we really devalue is incompetence, and that's what we'll point out. Which, funny thing, so Lowe's just is getting rid of 2,400 jobs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. One of our assistant managers, who's been there like 2 months, I didn't like him very much, but it's one of those actually, I didn't like him very much at all. But
let's be honest
he's been there. I'm being honest. It's one of those. It's like when I talk to him, I'm like, okay, you seem like an okay fella, but when he's like talking, like telling you to do something, he's a total just.
It's a dick.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name was Doug. I called him Doug the douchebag. Can he do it? Doug douchebag. Probably not. And the fun thing about it was. He was from Home Depot, and all he would do was talk about Home Depot, just constantly, just how fucking wonderful it is. So he got fired, which, I mean, him and the other guy who I despised, they got laid off. Not really fired, but laid off.
I got you.
The other guy I despised. He was condescending. He had no knowledge of anything, and actually what I came to find out is that he was very prejudiced against our black cashiers, or black female cashiers, and he's a black man.
Okay.
Well, because, I remember, I think I told the listeners before, I've had a class that was African American women and society.
Uh-huh.
The white woman is very much a status symbol in in terms of a lot of African American men. He had a white wife. All of his kids were very light-skinned. He very much, valued himself on being more assimilated into the white culture, very much like O.J. Simpson, which, side note, the run of his life, the trial of O.J. Simpson, really good 6-part ESPN 30 for 30 documentary. I'm like 4 hours into the 6th right now. Wonderful.
I've heard it's really
Absolutely
good.
And it's funny because, I was like, 3 or 4 when that happened. So I really didn't understand the magnitude of that trial, but I also didn't understand when he was a football player just how culturally relevant he was.
Oh, man, if you talk about we're going to get to Sepultura at some point, but I can tell you that
there's a black guy in the band.
There is. We're making a correlation. That was one of those where were you when the verdict happened? Now, I know obviously you were pretty young, but I mean, can you recall? Do you know what you were doing at that point in time, or was that way before your? I got you.
Oh, I have no idea. I was probably filling my shorts.
You want to know what I think? I was at the Hills department store, if I remember correctly. I was at Hills department store checking out the Virtual Boy. That's right.
Virtual Boy. Oh, wow. I wish Sean Garmer were here, because that was, when I used to do the video game podcast, that was one of my things that would name drop every episode.
Nice.
Because it would just amuse me.
We get people upset. Oh, man.
The fucking Virtual Boy. You back yet, Mark? That's a negative.
Negative, sir. He must when he said froze, he must have actually meant that he froze himself, not this computer. He's not coming back, apparently.
Apparently, he's not going to break the ice.
Oh.
Chill.
Punisher.
But yeah, yeah. But yeah, those two got laid off. I think they're restructuring our management system, which is going to suck, because that was what I was wanting to get into eventually. So it's one that was like, no fucking idea. Because apparently they've had 6 straight quarters of positive gain, but they're still losing money.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's hard to think, because I think Lowe's and Walmart go hand in hand. And I remember hearing not too long ago that they were going to be shutting down like Walmart stores or something. So, which just baffles me. I can't even fathom it.
Well, I also feel like, unlike Walmart, Home Depot is apparently a very good competitor. Now, I don't give 3 fucks about Home Depot. They seem like a fine company. I have a friend of mine that works there. She's pretty cool. But they do things like some of their shit, like, you know how I'm there till fucking 2 in the morning. They at their store, they get out at close. They have people to fucking clean the store up. Just clean up, stock everything. Call it fucking macaroni. Like it sounds like, at least at that store, it's like they don't have to do a lot of stuff in terms of it's all customer focused. The stuff that's not really customer based is mostly they've got somebody for that. So that's interesting. But I feel like, unlike Walmart, Lowe's has a competition. I think Walmart, the reason they've had so many closings is because they just have their hand in so many places.
It's hard. I could see them overreaching. I could see that happening. I mean, but these guys were. All right, thank goodness Mark Radulich is back. We're gonna put the retail talk on ice.
On ice. Mark Radulich, are you with us?
Maybe.
Oh, thank God. That pause. I was like, oh no. Because, I had another 10 minutes of Walmart I could talk about, as our numbers dwindle.
I don't understand why you guys didn't start talking about Sepultura. What? The podcast happy, and I come back and you guys are talking about Walmart?
I heard 3/8 of that spiel there, Mr. Mark Radulich. I know
he's giving a shit about Walmart.
Well, I think what he's saying is, why the fuck didn't you talk about Sepultura? You had 5 whole minutes to talk about Sepultura. I show up, and you're talking about goddamn Walmart.
That's just of it, yes.
Well, I was talking about work, and then he brought up Walmart, and then which they actually Walmart opened up.
We went from the O.J. Simpson trial to where I was at the Hills department store, checking out the Virtual Boy when the decision came down. Then we started talking about Lowe's is laying off workers. Then we made our way to Walmart. There you go, Mark Radulich. It's 5 minutes. I just covered in 30 seconds there for you. Are you ready to talk the band Sepultura yet?
You're both in trouble with me. I want you to know that. You're both getting
come on. Hey, we're not the ones. We're not the ones that can't stay connected. Exactly. Can't stay connected to a podcast. Bastard.
Well, it's not my fault. I'm multitasking.
Nifty.
Surprise.
Well, I was multitasking before I started the podcast, and I meant to stop, but unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. You see, it's not my fault.
No. Well, I tell you what, you let me and Coop have the podcast, we'll bring the podcast to a halt. We have no problem doing that.
We will bring this thing to a halt like Gandalf.
No. Listen, you people are podcast professionals. Jesse, you have one of the most popular shows on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Second or third maybe to this one and the 411 Ground and Pound radio show. And by the way,
Sure.
have you seen our stats? In the last month, we lost most of our female listeners. Like, we acknowledged...
Oh, come on.
we acknowledged we had female listeners, and they all went away.
Now, see, that's what happens.
It's like turning on a light and the roaches run off.
As soon as you start paying attention to a woman, they're just going to start ignoring you. There you go.
Oh, you ain't kidding, Buster. So, yeah, if you look at our stats now, it's like 75% sausage and like 25% chicks. We also lost Portugal somehow. We were very popular with the Portuguese, and they've been overtaken by the Germans, as per usual.
Well, I blame the Pope.
It's like a damn game of Risk or something. I don't know what's going on.
I blame the Pope.
Blame the Pope.
I blame
why
the
do you
Pope
hate
because
Catholics,
you know
sir?
why? Well, I was just blaming the Pope because he gave damn Portugal Brazil. I mean, it's all his fault.
Oh, I see. All right. All right, I'm going to give this a second shot here. Can we talk Sepultura now, please?
Speaking of Brazil.
Man, it's not 10 o'clock yet. We still got all sorts of retail stores to discuss.
I remember that.
All right, I'm going to stop talking about balancing my checkbook because that's how this whole mess started. And I'm not going to try to run Mac Cleaner while trying to also do a podcast because then my computer goes, too much stuff, and I lose my connection to Chrome. So I've shut everything I can possibly shut down, including the lights in all my house. I'm assuming at this point I need to conserve electricity for my terrible, terrible computer. Let's actually talk about the band that we decided to do a podcast on tonight, shall we?
Sure.
Machine Messiah was released on January 13th, 2017. It's the band's first studio album in over 3 years, since the mediator between Head and Hands Must Be the Heart, which came out in 2013. It's the longest gap between two studio albums in this version of Sepultura's career, and it's their 14th studio album overall. Cooper, how much do you know about Sepultura? Like, I'm sure you're aware of who used to be in the band and where they ran off to and who's left in the band, but musically, how familiar are you with pre-Derek Sepultura and post-Derek Sepultura?
Pre-Derek, of course. Very, very intimate with them. Morbid Vision, Schizophrenia, Bestial Devastation. All really good content. The Bestial Devastation demo is solid, kind of rough. But then when you get to Beneath the Remains, Arise, Chaos AD, all three of those albums, just fucking phenomenal. Roots was interesting. It was kind of a risk. And I feel like in some parts it paid off, some parts it didn't. Some of the more tribal aspects were interesting, but some of them didn't quite work out. Once Max Cavalera left, I haven't really listened to any of their albums until 2009, where I have Alex, which is a concept album about Dante the 21st is a Russian concept album. I think Alex is too. But in terms of listening to a full album of the Derek Green content, The Mediator Between Head and Hands Must Be the Heart was a solid album. It's not something I would say really blows the roof off of anything, but that and the title track of Kairos are really some of the more interesting Derek Green output. Really, I feel like once they lost Max Cavalera, they kind of, I think Andreas Kisser became their primary writer, and in some ways I really feel like that was a negative. A little too much of the groove metal gets thrown in there at times. There's some points in this album where I'm like, all right, that's cute. The groove in the new metal, and they're a little deep, but This album, in my opinion, I really feel like was a nice attempt at kind of getting back to their more classic style. Not as much death metal, but there's a lot more thrash in there compared to some of what they've had.
See, that's what I wanted to talk about really quick before we play our first track. Because I was thinking the same thing. I feel like this is the first album I've heard from the post Max Cavalera. You guys still with me?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sepultura. You know, sometimes I got to ask because suddenly I'll be talking to nobody. But I feel like this is the first album post the leaving of Max Cavalera. And I guess Igor left too, right? When Max left?
Yeah, they're both now in, if I'm not mistaken, Cavalera Conspiracy. And I think maybe Soulfly. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look through it. I could have sworn it
was
was
Cavalera Conspiracy.
It was just Max that left? Okay. Okay. So
Igor left years later.
Okay. I thought he left when Max left, but no. When the big Sepultura split happened, it was just Max that left, and then they replaced him with Derek, and that was the band for a while, and then later Igor left. And then Igor and Max formed the Cavalera Conspiracy. That's how the story goes? Well, I call him Igor.
Yeah. Yeah. Cavalera, Max left in '96. Igor left in 2006.
Okay.
And then and it was the funny thing actually is that when you can think about it, Derek Green's been in the band longer than Max Cavalera was, by far.
Well, the thing that I was getting to, and you acknowledged it, and I'm glad because I was thinking the same thing. As I listened to this album, this really does feel like the first time since the band reformed with a different singer that it felt like Sepultura, Beneath the Remains, and everything prior to that. Because I feel like Beneath the Remains was probably their most the most evenly split between their death metal sound and what they would become with Chaos AD and then evolve into with Roots. Clearly the best Sepultura album of the entire bunch. So I feel like one of the reasons why I never stayed with Sepultura after, I mean, I gave him a shot, but it always just felt like a Sepultura cover band with Derek, and I wasn't into it. And a lot of the new stuff just seemed kind of meh to me. This album, Machine Messiah, I feel like goes back to the pre-Beneath the Remains era. And it really finally, it took them 14 years to do it, but it really finally captures the early Sepultura sound. I don't know how good of a thing that is, but it's something that I thought we should acknowledge. Well, agree or disagree, Coop?
Yeah. I thought this overall was their best. I think so far this is their best album since Chaos AD, I think, in my opinion.
Jesse, just real quick, and then I want to get into playing the music. Are you familiar at all with any version of Sepultura?
No. You guys had me listen to, I think over the summer you had me listen to Roots. I listened to that whole album, and I think I may have came on the show and told you what I thought about it, possibly. But that really is, honestly, the first time I have sat down and listened to a whole Sepultura album was Roots. Because it was highly touted by you, sir, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and,
I stand by that.
It's good. It was a good album. I actually enjoyed a good bit of it. And Spotify, I've noticed they're really starting to pick up on stuff on their algorithm when they play my daily mix. And Sepultura's Roots and Rada Matata or whatever it is makes its way into that mix. So I've listened to actually a good bit off of that album now. So this is the first time I've sat down and listened to. This will be the second album I guess I've listened to from Sepultura. So I have nothing. I'm curious. You guys have educated me so far on the history of this band. They started out. Did they start out as thrash? Or I noticed you guys use death metal.
Yeah.
How did these guys start out?
They definitely started out. They started out as a thrash metal band with some death metal influences, I'd say.
Okay.
But yeah, they're largely still kind of a thrash band. You listen to Schizophrenia and it'll fucking blow your pants off.
They really, Chaos AD is another one you should go back and listen to. It's probably their most commercially successful album of any era of Sepultura. I mean, I like Roots the best, but it's either you dig the tribal element of it or you don't. And if you don't, you're obviously going to like Chaos AD more. It's certainly a more commercially accessible album than Roots was. I think Roots turned a lot of people off. And I know there was some personal stuff that went on with the band that broke that caused Max Cavalera to leave and start Soulfly. But I would tell you, without really knowing personally what the situation was, I would harbor a guess that the direction Max was taking the band with Roots was at least one of the elements that broke the band up. Because I mean, it's not like this version of Sepultura ever went back and re-embraced that Brazilian tribal style ever again, and that's all Soulfly has ever been. You know, it was like, you know, he planted a flag in the ground and said Roots, and the band went, we're gonna go back to, you know, something else, and he was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go keep doing Roots over and over and over again, and he called it Soulfly.
I think I've heard Soul. I was just gonna say, I think I've heard a couple Soulfly songs, and that sticks out. I'm not a fan, but I enjoyed Roots, but I didn't enjoy any really too much Soulfly at all.
Yeah, I enjoy Soulfly. Like, how can I describe it? Well, I
this is gonna be pleasant.
Well, no, I was going to say I enjoy it very sparsely. Like, if I get, like, one good Soulfly song that I listen to a year, I'm like, that's fine. But otherwise, I'm like, oh, boy, somebody put tribal elements in my new metal.
All right.
Yeah,
I think it's a great place to start listening to the music.
Rather than
Someone get these bongo drums out of my new metal. All right, with that,
put them down.
Hey, you Durst, put those bongos down, you nut. All right, here we go. Our first track here from Machine Messiah.
Butt naked with bongo drums playing Nookie.
Oh no! And we've lost Coop for the night. Coop has gone suddenly silly. All right. Coop composes himself. Let's go ahead and listen to track one. God, if you're still with us, I applaud you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, who am I kidding, gentlemen? This is Machine Messiah. right, Coop. I'm not even gonna weigh in on this. I'm gonna throw it to you. I'm gonna lean on you. What did you think of that?
I thought it was different. The approach that they were taking with that felt almost kind of almost gothic and doomy in nature, but I feel like it kind of almost frames the album in a way, though. This is I felt like lyrically this is very much your some aspects apocalyptic machines and shit.
We've seen a lot of those albums come this way so far within the last few months.
It's because of the advent of the smartphone. I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
It's technology's become a very prevalent thing in our lives.
It has.
But,
you talked about it framing. I just want to hop in here real quick. I'll let you continue. But you talk about them framing the album when they were doing. I know I told you guys I watched the production diary that they had on YouTube, and they did a track by track as well. He specifically said that this song was it's kind of like an intro to the album. So I think when you're saying it kind of frames the album, it kind of sets the tone and kind of eases you into it. I think that's actually what their intention was.
What if I don't want to be eased into it?
Oh, did you not like this? Did you not like this first song?
Oh, you dirty girl.
Yeah. I don't. Foreplay stinks. Just take my pants off and let's get to it.
I got things to do.
Put on, sir. How am I supposed to take them off?
Spicy food could be the secret to a healthy heart and a long life. What do you think about that, Jesse?
What is it? Icy food?
Spicy.
Spicy
food. I was going to say icy. I mean, I eat everything either cold or incredibly spicy, so either way, I'm good.
It's like, what the hell?
Coop's going to live forever. Spicy with an S.
I tend to draw a line between spicy food and ulcer, so I really don't know how the hell that could possibly be.
Well, according to the Telegraph, spicy food could be the secret to a healthy heart and a longer life. And I'm assuming they're basing this off a study they found and that are reporting on. All right, so but back to this shitty song. I mean, it's whatever. I was bored with it. I was like, if this whole album is basically, a Opeth light, I'm gonna end up slitting my wrist by the end of it. Thankfully, it changes.
Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned Opeth because they actually titled. I don't think it was this song. There's another song on here that they titled before it hit the album. Obviously, as it was, the title of the song was just Opeth because that is the feel that they got when they did the song. Of course, they obviously changed the title afterwards, but they knew what they were doing and what they sounded like on some of these songs.
I was not impressed, Jesse Starcher. I
can tell.
All right, let's move this along here. Now we get better here. It's a shorter song by half, much faster, heavier stuff. This is "I Am the Enemy."
What do you see and what do you hear? Conspiracy plot in this culture of fear. Reunite with yourself. Reconnect with yourself. I think the final collective solution. I need my freedom from the people that touch down. I am the enemy. I am the enemy. Building a prison to bear. You can destroy, but you can yourself. You realize I'm not a fraud. Reunite with yourself. Reconnect with yourself. Reunite our life. Reunite our life.
Yeah, now we're talking. See, I mean, it's not the greatest song. It's not the one that I told you was the jam. But at least that one had some balls, nuts, testosterone, melons. All right, not melons. That's the wrong thing.
Melon.
Yeah, I messed up. It doesn't have tits. But it's got balls, ladies and gentlemen.
Say, if it had tits, that would mean that it doesn't have any balls.
Well, that's not true. We have a lot of men with tits in the jail. I mean, they might think they're something else, but they still have their penis and they have big boobs. They're mid-transition, sir. So don't be prejudiced against the mid-transitioning transgender crowd.
See, I was going to make a joke about steroid use. But what do I know?
You also, and here's a little tip for all you people with the bipolar disorder. If you take Risperdal, there's a possible side effect of gynecomastia, which is you grow boobies.
No.
Yes. I know about that one. You know what's funny? That line they named him Rob Paulson. I don't have bitch tits. No, I was going to reference Fight Club. For that line, they name him Rob Paulson. All I could think of is the voice actor.
All right. So yeah, that one I liked. That one was fine. I felt like the album finally woke up and woke me up. Jesse, what'd you think of that one?
Yeah, it's a kick-ass tune compared to the first one, that's for sure. I wasn't, just like you, man. It wasn't one that was. It's not one of the best ones off of here. That is for certain, in my opinion. But yeah, you needed a dose to wake you up.
Yep. That
like
was
Folgers.
That's the best part of waking up is Folgers on your nuts. Just a hot cup of coffee on the deck.
I was going to say 2 girls in 1 cup, but you know.
Ew. Jesse, have you ever seen 2 Girls, 1 Cup?
I know what you're talking about, and no, I have not seen it. It's not, who goes and seeks shit like that out? Seriously.
Yeah, intended.
Yes, sir.
Well, the whole gimmick behind it.
Poop makes me nauseous.
Yeah, I didn't last long. It's essentially the whole 2 Girls, 1 Cup thing was kind of like riding a rodeo bull. The object was to stay on the bull for as long as possible without being thrown. And in this case, the object was to watch the video for as long as possible without vomiting all over yourself.
Dude.
And film yourself doing it. I mean, the whole viral thing about the 2 Girls, 1 Cup was watching the reaction videos, which were hilarious.
Oh, the reaction videos.
I think you need to do it. I think we need to do a special video cast on YouTube of Jesse's reaction to 2 Girls, 1 Cup. If that's even still available.
No.
No.
No. No.
No.
No.
You don't want to ride the bull at Jilly's and bust your face?
I have got better things to do with my life. Better things to do. And some were, no, not happening.
Now I want you to do it.
Yeah, surprise, it's not happening.
The more you say no, the more I want you to do it. I want you to know that.
What do you got to say here, Coop? Jump in and save me. Change the subject. Do something.
Well, I can't.
Before he puts it on the schedule.
It's great. It's great. It makes me heave, but I'm good, and I don't vomit. Between that, Tub Girl, and Meatloaf farts. God.
I am so squeamish when it comes to certain things. I couldn't get through last night's episode of New Girl that I just watched on Hulu before the show, before I was balancing my checkbook and crashing my computer. They do the 3 guys on the show as a bonding ritual do a Brazilian wax, which is they rip the hair off their nutsack with hot wax.
Oh no! I hit myself in the balls with the remote and I turn into a little girl.
I mean, it's not like they enjoyed it. That was the whole joke of it. But like I said, I'm so squeamish about that sort of thing that I had to avert my eyes. I had to look away from the television because I could not watch a sitcom of 3 dudes having hair ripped off and it's not like you have a close-up of their pelvis, with the hair just being ripped out.
God.
Like you might be getting some thigh action in there.
Movies. Oh.
All right. Speaking of thigh action, Here's track 3. This is Phantom Self. All right, that was okay. I mean, you know, it feels like one of those songs where it's like, all right, it's fine. It's just fine. You know, it's got a groovy little beat to it. It's nothing special. It's imminently listenable. Coop?
That was amusing, and it really reminded me of Rush. What fucking song am I thinking of though? Is that YYZ? I don't know.
I'm thinking so.
I'm thinking you're thinking of the Muppet, the Muppet Show theme.
I've never watched the Muppet Show.
Get off my podcast.
I mean, no, I would have been off this podcast when you were making Bugs Bunny references, and I was being like, I've heard of it.
Oh.
Not Bugs Bunny, but the skit. But
Do you know why you're?
Yeah, it's the one with.
Do you now know why you're on this show, Jesse? I need.
I'm filling that void.
I need someone I can talk to.
Someone's got to get the references around here.
Child knows nothing. Go ahead, Drew.
The
old man
mediator
references.
between the mediator between the Coop and the Mark must be the starch.
Yes, you are our cheese in our grilled cheese sandwich of a podcast there, buddy.
Yeah,
how do you
that's
feel
right.
about that?
Sandwich between two sweaty men.
Yay!
That was icky. God, this podcast has been just a fucking series of stupid tangents. Anywho.
When is it not a series of stupid tangents, Coop?
When we're both tired. But anywho, Phantom Self, in terms of I guess more of this is modern Sepultura. Yeah, that was it. That was the thing. It felt very much like a modern Sepultura song. I feel like I Am the Enemy picked up the pace a lot better than Phantom Self. But Phantom Self was a good song. It was different. It had a very different beginning to it. It is something that you can point at and say, hey, look, it doesn't sound quite like everything else.
Is this one of those ones that you thought may have started the groove metal stuff on the album? Or is that later? Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Mark.
No, I was talking to you. Sorry, Coop.
I don't hear Mark at all. This is worrisome. Anywho,
I'm still here.
Okay, I was saying nothing. Well, you usually say something by now.
No, I was waiting for you to talk. Do you want me to talk over you the whole show?
No, Jeff.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to say that, I'm trying to give you ample time to speak your mind, and be an equal part of this show.
Wow.
I'm just trying to tell you that I'll sit here quietly so that you can talk. How many times can I do this before he fucking flies to Tampa and punches me in the face, Jesse?
Well, he's on his way right now. I've heard him get in his car a couple times on the podcast.
I can't fly.
Just be ready.
So,
one of those times he's going to be driving to your house.
just give me 14 hours. Were you talking about the band or just this song?
No,
was more reminiscent?
this song. I know you said that there's a little bit of groove that you've heard on this album.
This album had some of it. There's one song in here that the riff
sticks
in
out
it was
to
like dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I'm like, all right. I was like, oh boy, look, it's every fucking new metal song.
Well, I think Phantom Self is one of my top tracks off the album for me.
Really?
I did learn. Yeah, I like this one. I really do. Fuck off.
Well, that's
now.
Here's
the claws are out.
Now, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. I'm so nice to you. I don't know why you would tell me to fuck off like that. That's mean.
Fuck off. One of the cool things I learned about this song, though, and we can go to the next one there. This song is actually about the inspiration behind this song was this guy. One of the band members came to the lead singer, I think. I could be wrong here. I can't remember. But anyway, he told him a story about how there was a guy who was in this wreck, and the wreck was very traumatic, to where after the wreck, it changed him so much that his friend, it was such a significant event that people that he knew prior to that one event, that one accident that happened, would come and talk to him. But that traumatic event shaped his life so much that it was these people from his past that were coming up and talking to him after this wreck. It changed his viewpoint of who these people were. And that's where the whole Phantom Self comes in, because prior to this and who he was now, it's almost like he related it to a ghost, somebody that's not there anymore. But here comes all these remnants from his past that are showing up, and that affected that guy so much that he wrote this song. And that's where the Phantom Self. If you look at the lyrics, I think it almost references the accident that this guy was in. And again, this is not somebody that was in the band that was in the accident. This was just a story that was related to him. So interesting song. And it might kind of factor in as to why I think it's probably one of my favorites off the album. But I enjoy the sound of it too. So there you go. There's my defense. In defense of.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. This is Alethea. I could have played more of that, but why bother? It just
I wasn't a fan either.
Yeah, it just sounds like their instruments are out of tune.
Maybe they were. You weren't there.
It just wow 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 twang. Ugh. That was a low point on this album for me. What did you think, Coop?
I thought this was a solid song. A lot of these songs really didn't offend me in any way in terms of actual music. But it didn't really blow me away. At least not this one. It was kind of there. I could see some of what they were going for, but overall I was like, eh.
I really wanted more out of this. I decided we were going to do this of all the albums that we could have possibly reviewed this week that came out last Friday. I was really hoping for something meaty and solid and thrashy, and there's some of that on this album, but I should probably save this for my final thoughts, but it's such an unbalanced album.
Oh, it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's like I won't go as far as to say I feel like every day they went into the studio to try to record a different genre of metal, but it does just feel like, again, like I said at the top of the show, like they were trying for that old school Sepultura sound without really embracing it, because they're still hanging on to a lot of modern tropes in metal music. And it just sounds, like I said, unbalanced and out of whack. I don't know. I'm having a hard time really like getting through this album track by track. There are, like I said, some. I was actually going to save it for the one track I really, really liked on here, but I'll say this now. I didn't realize I had random on the first time I played it, so I was hearing them completely out of order. And I guess it played the heavier. It was like Spotify instantly knew, like, play the heavier tracks first, and we'll lose them if you don't. So the first couple of tracks after Machine Messiah that I heard were all like the heavier stuff, and I'm like, oh, actually, this is pretty good. But as I'm listening to it now, and I'm really, believe it or not, paying attention to it, I'm just bored with this. This takes me back to all the reasons why I didn't keep with the band after Max left, after giving them a brief shot. I don't find anything interesting about their sound. I mean, that's just me. And, if you want to go ahead and counterpoint to that, Cooper, and and find the good and all the negativity I'm spewing about this, be my guest.
I got nothing so far. I mean, there's a lot better in this album later on, but some of this was just kind of representative of modern Sepultura in some ways.
Well, let me ask a question, Coop. I think it was the producer on the YouTube production diary thing I was watching. He said, or no, I'm sorry, it was a Nuclear Blast. It was a guy from Nuclear Blast. He said that Sepultura was kind of known for doing something very different each album. Now, I'm not the most schooled in their catalog, but when you compare album to album, is that something that they had a track record of doing? Is going in there and okay, now we're going to kind of flip things a little bit, and then we're going to add this element in the next album. Did you see that a lot, or they don't have like a signature sound, do they?
I feel like there's certain sound. I mean, there's a certain sound that they have that you'll find that kind of expands all throughout this kind of iteration of the band. Now,
okay.
I will agree that a lot of their music, it is different. Like Alex was a very thrashy album, but it also wasn't very good. It was
oh
really,
my God, that bored me with fucking tears.
What? Alex?
Alex, yeah.
Yeah, that and Dante the 21st. Both of those were like tons of like 2 to 4 minute songs, but they were really just they were really inconsequential. There was nothing that really stood out about them. Kairos had some good songs. That had them kind of slowing down some. And then the Mediator, I felt like they slowed down some more there. This one, they have some more like Eastern influence in some of their songs, as you heard from the second. If I'm not mistaken, is that the second song? No, first song, Machine Messiah. They have other influences in on this album, which is nice. It's something different, but it does differentiate itself from the last album. So yes, they, in large parts, they do have a unique sound to each album, but there's still elements of the other albums in it.
Okay.
Go ahead and move this along here. This is Iceberg Dances. I'm guessing that's an instrumental.
Yes, sir.
Great. Let's go ahead to the next track. This is Sworn Oath, track number 6.
to lead the way. When the greed transforms to tears, that's a reason to break these chains. We're all aware that no one wants to live this way. Not something you find, no attention. What we did, we had to make a difference. Alright, it's on the wall. The time is turning. Now, we'll pledge allegiance. Why? Our goals will never die.
All right, I didn't hate that. I mean, it's not something I would run out and listen to again, but it actually, it kind of reminded me of like if Tim Burton decided to do a movie and score it with metal music, like that's what it might sound like. I got a very A Nightmare Before Christmas feel from that song for some odd reason. I thought it was a decent balance between sort of dark and creepy while still maintaining a high level of heaviness. So it was okay. It was fun. It actually also kind of gave me a shitty Slayer vibe. Like a Seasons in the Abyss, Rain and Blood kind of thing. No. Don't give me. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like some of Slayer's slower, more creepy, spooky songs are some of their best songs, and this felt like a pale imitation of that.
Yeah, all right. I say, like, wait a minute. Those are the good Slayer albums. We've been getting bad ones recently.
I'm not like Jesse. I'm not like Jesse. I don't hate Slayer.
Well, he had good Slayer. Hello, wait, nah.
Hey, I listen to a few Slayer tracks now every now and then, so I don't hate them completely. Hey, this is that song that stuck out to me and made me ask if Sepultura was known for adding string orchestra and stuff like that, and symphony into their tracks, because I've really grown to like that element in some of my metal. Epica is probably one of my it's probably one of my favorite albums of last year, and to hear this is definitely not Epica, but I mean you could tell there are elements in there that they are using that is similar. So was this something that you guys have never heard Sepultura do before?
No, but let me tell you, if you are looking forward to more orchestras in your metal, oh boy. Wait till we find out when the new Demure gear drops. You're going to have yourselves a treat on your hands. See, that's
how the
where
fuck do you spell that?
Demure gear. Spell it with
it's
just like it sounds.
It's DIMMU BORGIR. Dimmu Borgir.
All right.
I think that's where me and Cooper meet, like evenly meet in terms of music we both really like. Dimmu Borgir is fucking amazing. And
good shit.
If you ever have an opportunity to go see them live, take the kids. It's a family event. And
then go to the Mayhem show. Maybe they'll throw the goat's head in there again. Use the real animal. Use the real animal blood.
First time I saw Dimmu Borgir live was in Brooklyn, and they made the place like pitch black, and the band came out and they were all wearing like glow in the dark corpse paint, and like everybody but the drummer basically stood at the edge of the stage, very close together, so it looked like an army of zombies playing instruments coming at you. It was sick. Loved it.
Crazy.
So yes, take the wife and the kids. Plan a picnic. Tell them you're taking them to go see a cultural event. Dimmu Borgir.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, it'll be a religious experience apparently.
Tell them, Coop. How good is a Dimmu Borgir show?
I've never been to one.
See, that's what I'm saying. You guys both need to go. Terrible.
I'm looking at related
right.
artists. Old Man's Child, Satyricon,
They're
Emperor.
awesome.
Yeah, Old Man's
Satyricon,
Child, yeah. They're okay.
Emperor, and then Dark Funeral.
Ooh, well, Dark Funeral's probably too a little heavy for you. Satyricon, like their first few albums are pretty rock solid. And Emperor, they don't have a bad.
He's amazing. Yeah, Emperor
they don't.
is fucking
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, I fucking love them.
All right.
Okay, let's go ahead into our next track. This is track 7, Resistant Parasites. That might have been one of the first ones I heard after Machine Messiah and convinced me this album was better than it really was. That one I really liked. But, and I don't know where our producer is with my request. How we doing?
Uploading now. And halfway there, and we are, okay, it's ready.
Okay, hang on. Now, you heard the bass line in that. The bass line is the star of that song, right? Can we all agree on that? What do you have it labeled as?
It should be under the T's.
Nope.
T. Oh, come on.
I don't see it, sir.
Well, you need to refresh.
I did.
And refresh again. You need to do it. Hey, by the way, let me just go ahead and tell you that, Coop, is this the Groove one that you were talking about that you got kind of sick of?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Of course.
I was going down through some reviews as we were talking about the album, and one guy, I'll read this. Let's go ahead and give this guy props. Sabi Reyes Carkerny, contributor to Pitchfork.com. He or she states, meanwhile, the simplistic snaking main riff of Resistant Parasites could have been made up by Beavis and Butthead.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna play that song, just a little bit of it this time. Okay, I want you to pay special attention to the bass, and then I'm going to play something comparative to it, just for shits and giggles. Okay, so here, for your listening pleasure, the bass line of Resistant Parasite. That's really all you needed to hear there, okay? That's what we're listening to. Now, check this out. So that's an awesome Primus song, and if you haven't heard it before, go back and listen to it later. But are those not very similar, right? Like, they basically took that bass line and just kind of played around with it?
There has to be production notes or possibly hidden, unreleased camera footage of the production of Sepultura's Machine Messiah, where the guy is sitting down, one of the guys from the band is sitting down and saying, so we got together with our friend Rob Zombie, and we decided to figure out what should we rip off of Primus this time. So he said, Rob Zombie says he'd take the too many people fucking into UFO, and we decided to rip off too many. I got it all mixed up. I can't do an impression and think at the same time, damn it.
I'm enjoying Swiss Jets. Can we have more Swiss Jets on this podcast?
Unfortunately, that, my friend, was supposed to be a Spanish accent, and
are you
clearly
kidding me?
I'm horrible at it. I'm horrible.
I honestly thought you were going with Finnish, and I'm like, no, he's got to be doing Swiss, because isn't that where this was mixed, like Switzerland?
Yes, it was. It was mixed. It was mixed in Sweden. One of the guys though is Brazilian, right? One of the main dudes in Sepultura is Brazilian, correct?
Most of them are.
Okay, most of them. See, I learned a little something by doing a little bit of research today.
Okay,
so maybe that was my horrible Brazilian accent.
Okay, but do you think Brazilians are Spanish? Because if you are, that's racist. They're actually Portuguese.
I thought the Pope had something to do with this.
Oh, here we go again.
Coop, tell me about the Pope in Portuguese and all this other stuff.
Tell you about the Pope in Portuguese? I got nothing.
Portuguese is a state, right?
Oh, no.
Portuguese is a state.
The dumbest show we've ever done, and I mean that in a joke.
We can try harder.
This is lovely.
Yeah, that is complete.
Right.
That is a complete rip-off of that song. I mean, it just sounds. I say complete rip-off, but I mean you can hear the similarities clearly.
Yeah, and I guess I mean I don't know. I don't know how familiar any of these guys are with. First of all, that album was from like when I was in junior high.
Yeah, dude. That was uploaded to YouTube 10 years ago. Okay,
but it's older than that. Hang on, when did Frizzle Fry come out? I'm looking on my phone here. When did Frizzle Fry come out? Frizzle Fry. I am the Frizzle Fry. All right, Frizzle Fry came out to defy the laws of tradition. 1990.
I was gonna guess 92. Damn, that is old, dude. 27 years.
And Coop has killed himself. He's gone. Coop said, "I can't take it anymore. I'm off the show." Oh, goodness gracious. So yeah, I don't know at this point. Like I in the '90s, I listened to, and he's back. I listened to a lot of Primus. I used to love Primus. I mean, they got a little silly after a while, but Frizzle Fry is a dope album, and I spent most of the '90s listening to it, especially Too Many Puppies. So when I heard that bass line, I'm like, wait a minute, and I knew immediately what it was. But I don't know if anybody in modern day Sepultura even can remember this album, let alone that bass line. What do you think? Do you think they just outright copied it, Coop, or do you think that it's just a happy coincidence?
They were inspired by it, sir.
And how do you know that?
I was being sarcastic. They didn't rip it off. They were inspired by it.
Okay.
No, that was pretty. It was pretty blatant. I mean, perhaps you can say that they're like, maybe they were like, well, I got. Let's bassist sits down and goes, got a good riff for you, man. Like, all right, man, hit me. Then he starts playing and he goes, I'll take it. Maybe they didn't notice. That happens. But damn, that certainly sounded like Too Many Puppies.
Yeah. By the way, I almost searched for Too Many Puppos. That would have brought up some interesting stuff.
Oh no.
Oh wow. They I didn't know they've had the same bassist since like '84. Interesting.
Who? Primus?
Yes,
okay.
and Sepultura.
Primus.
I was gonna say yes, they had the same bassist.
That is the band.
That's the band.
How familiar? Changing topics completely. How familiar are you with Primus? Like, were you aware of Too Many Puppies? Are you aware of Frizzle Fry or any of the pre? I mean, like, I don't know. I'm guessing where you might have come into Primus along with everybody else with Sailing the Seas of Cheese or maybe Tales from the Punch Bowl, because that had a big buzz clip on it. That had Winona's Big Brown Beaver. And then after that, everything was. And you stroked it all the time because everyone's fucking in a UFO. But my question, Jesse, to you really quickly is, where exactly did you come into Primus, if at all?
Oh, wow. Jerry was a race car driver. That
Okay.
was probably the first song I'd ever heard and paid attention to by these guys.
Please don't tell me the first time you heard it was on Guitar Hero.
I don't know. No, it was not.
Okay.
It was not.
Really?
It was actually, I think it was mid-'90s, early '90s, I believe, because I was in high school. So, but I didn't really get into much of their, many of their albums, listening to the whole album until probably about 5 or 6 years ago when a coworker, huge Les Claypool fan, huge Primus fan, we went to Volbeat, watched Volbeat, and she begged me. She's like, we got to go watch Primus in Pittsburgh. I said, okay. So I've got to familiarize myself with the material. And at that point, I think Green Naugahyde or whatever the newer album was getting released. And, dude, I was up front. I mean, Les Claypool was within 5 feet from me with his mask on and playing the bass, and you talk about a fucking head trip of a concert. Holy shit. But anyway, so I then got into, listening to Frizzle Fry. There were a lot of good songs that I had heard before, but never really caught and like, oh shit, that's Primus. But yeah, it was probably the early '90s when I first heard them, but really got into them and listening to a lot of their catalog about 5 or 6 years ago.
If you ask me, and nobody has, I feel like the band really did peak with Pork Soda. Like Frizzle Fry, Sailing the Seas of Cheese, Pork Soda, and then after that, Tales from the Punch Bowl was probably their biggest like commercially successful album. I don't know the numbers in front of me, but I know like as they were becoming a big mainstream band and doing Lollapalooza and Woodstock and all that shit was around the Tales from the Punch Bowl era. And I know Winona's got a Big Brown Beaver was a huge hit, a big-time radio single. But I'll be damned if Tales from the Punch Bowl was a letdown after Pork Soda, which to me was the height of their career. Pork Soda is a near perfect album. But that's just because fucking Frizzle Fry and Sailing the Seas of Cheese are so good. Those three albums are ones that I could put on right now, listen to them straight through, and there's really not a bad song on any of them. And excuse me. And so many of those songs from those three albums bring back so many really good memories. And then after that, it's just a lot of nothing. Like, I don't know what happened to Primus. I feel like a lot of that creative gas just went out of that band after Pork Soda. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I prefer to remember Primus as a 3-album band, and that's it. Real quick, just to wrap up this discussion of Primus in the middle of a Sepultura review, Coop, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I feel like they're like 3 albums and a bunch of fat bass lines.
Well said.
But,
all right, this is
I mean that song wasn't too bad. I didn't mind it.
Yep. All right, moving right along. This is track 8. This is Silent Violence. Nothing special, just kind of there.
Politics.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coop.
I was going to say that I felt like, unlike with their mid-2000s releases, this song really kind of was different. It was fast, it was heavy, had some nice solos. It was a pretty solid song between that, and I really did like Iceberg Dances.
The instrumental?
Yes. Since we pretty much were like, yeah, it's an instrumental.
Oh, it ain't that bad. Come on. I agree with you, Coop. I think the variety that they kind of throw in here, it doesn't hurt the album. Although one would say that they may be, it's almost like they're struggling for an identity. But, I mean, shit, they've been around for 14 years, right? Or no, this is their 14th album. They've been around for longer than that. You said it's 84?
They've been around since 84.
84. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking well over 30 years. I don't know if at a point when you change band members, which it doesn't look like they did a whole lot of changing here. Just from what I could see. There's only been, in the early years before the 90s hit, their lead guitarist, they finally, settled on Kisser and then continued throughout. Their bassist has been the same, just like you said, since 84. Drums kind of got changed up there in the late 2000s. But, at some point as a band, I wonder if you get bored. How many thrash bands are still around from 84? I mean, the first
Metallica.
the first one I was going to say is fucking Metallica.
Anthrax.
Okay, yes.
Megadeth. Anthrax.
Megadeth, Megadeth 85. Overkill.
Those aren't, those aren't small names you guys are throwing
That's
out
87.
there.
Exodus. Crocus.
Do you
Yeah,
find?
definitely.
All right.
Hyrax.
Creator.
Okay, name some more, please. Do me a favor, name some more.
Autumn. Tankard.
Okay, all right. Now let me ask a question based on those. Let's just take the top 5 bands that you guys named. Okay. Do you find that the variance in their work as they have gotten older it's more similar to what Sepultura has been doing over the past, since their inception, or does Sepultura seem to vary a lot more compared to their previous work?
Well, let's talk about the obvious one, Metallica. They put out a series of thrash albums, which would make sense because they were a thrash band. And then for a short period of time, they decided they were a hard rock band. And they put out a few hard rock albums. Then they went back to being a thrash band. And then they forgot, and then they overprogrammed one of their instruments, namely the drums.
Yes, they did.
But I would say Metallica is a good example of a band that played with sound and experimented with things and tried to reinvent themselves a few different times. I think Coop can speak to this pretty well. Megadeth certainly tried on a number of different musical hats and redefined themselves over the years. I'm pretty sure Testament's been consistently the same band for a zillion years now. Same thing with
They just got heavier
Overkill.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, they went heavier. Overkill got more of a groove metal sound, but now they're back to thrash. Exodus was pretty consistent.
What do you guys like? Do you guys like the consistent stuff, or do you like to watch a band that's been around for 30-some years try to not evolve their sound but play?
Let's take the most obvious one. Let's take the most obvious one that... Oh, this got all stained. God damn it.
Damn it.
That's what she said.
Waka Waka. Let's take the most obvious band that has not changed their sound in all million years they've been around, Slayer. And let's go back to the review where people trolled us and said that Robert Cooper and I were fucking in a UFO. That was Repentless, if I remember correctly. And I think going back to that review, you and I both said the same thing. I'm like, it's nice, but it's the same Slayer album they've been doing for years now. Like, not World Coming Down, that was typo negative. God Hates Us All was probably the peak of Slayer's creative juices, and then everything after that has just been the same Slayer album year after year after year, to the point where you start. It's like a Def Leppard or something, where it's just, no one really cares anymore. It's just an excuse for them to tour. So, look, different just for the sake of being different might as well be nothing. Might as well just be whatever it was you were doing before. I like experimentation. I'm okay with Metallica turning into a hard rock band. They were a good hard rock band. They were talented musicians. I'm okay with Clutch going from what they were, in the Pitchfork and Transnational Speedway era, all the way to Blast Tyrant and Robot Hive Exodus and all of that. I'm okay with really knowing how to play your instruments and doing fun things with them. But I'm not okay with a discombobulated mess and something just sounds unfocused. And that's what I think this is. I feel like they just went into the studio and was like, let's record this, now let's record that. And there was no cohesion. And it feels very empty. It just feels like, this is popular and people used to like this, and it just seemed like a patchwork of ideas.
I can see where you're coming from. Coop, you got anything to add to that?
I do feel like that this was more of a kind of smattering of different musical ideas. I do feel like it does kind of break it away from some of the monotony that comes from some of their past albums. In terms of what do I like? Do I like a band to stay the same or change? That depends. Slayer's a band that has been consistent, but their quality has been a steep decline since God Hates Us All, and really that was God Hates Us All was the good album between that and Diabolus and Musica.
Which was garbage.
It was hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
But it was hot garbage. I feel like that was because Jeff Hanneman was becoming less and less of a force in their music. Kerry King's a good guitarist, but he is not good enough to float a band. He ain't Dimebag. But when you look at bands like AC/DC or Motorhead, those are bands that don't really change their style all that much. And what that kind of happens is sometimes you'll get like fucking Motorhead. Most of their albums are pretty fucking good. And that's because the songwriting stays consistent and they keep finding new ways to do the same, new ways to present the same cake. But then if you get a band like for example, Testament changed. They kind of went that commercial metal route in the early 90s with the Ritual. But then they started getting heavier after Low, with Demonic and The Gathering being fairly heavy affairs. And I really, Demonic was a solid album. The Gathering's fucking awesome. But really what it goes down to is what did they do with their music? I mean, Metallica changed. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's awful. It doesn't really, I feel like it's what you really do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go to probably my favorite song of the album. This is Vandal's Nest. See, that song is the jam right there. That's
not quite the jelly jam, but it's getting there.
Nothing is like the jelly jam. But Vandal's Nest is good. That one might actually make my douchebag workout mix if I ever not have lungs like a 70-year-old smoker. Jesus.
They call him Wheezy.
Yeah.
Not that one either.
Yeah, that's what Jesse says. He says, "Careful with that mic, Wheezy." Careful with that mic, Wheezy. Do you really think it's that easy? Anyway. Dan.
How.
All right. About ready to break it. Like now. All right, so this mashup of both Careful with That Mic and Black Sabbath needs to come to an end here.
Well, you were coughing. That's what starts out.
Sweetleaf.
Fuck. Was it Fairies Wear Boots?
No, it's Sweetleaf.
Fuck.
Sweetleaf.
Yeah, it was
because
Sweetleaf.
He's smoking pot, man.
He's smoking them reefer.
Fucking reefer. All right, Jesse, what did you think of my jam there?
Hey, good jam, man. That's some thrash right in your face. Almost like I remember hearing this one and going, I could almost see it being the start out to a Megadeth song. I mean, it is very, very up tempo. A decent song.
All right. In the interest of Tim, let's move on here. This is track 10 because we have to play the bonus tracks for Cooper. So this would be the end of the album proper, but with bonus tracks. Why? Because Robert Cooper. That's why. So this is track 10. This is for God.
I saw this many times, smothered by the words lashed out from your mouth.
Nope.
Oh, come on. Mark's
I'm
like,
sorry.
Fuck that song, fuck that song, and fuck that song.
That was way too fucking Phil Anselmo, not reinventing the steel. Far Beyond Driven. That's. I'll play it for real. But come on, Coop, you've heard Good Friends in a Bottle of Pills. That was the first thing I thought of, and I hadn't even heard this song before just now.
I can name that ripoff in 3 notes.
Yeah, she smacked her ass, and she smacked my ass and called me. Oh fuck! I remember last time I did this. I said I smacked her ass and called her daddy, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I was on this podcast too. You were like, what the fuck?
All right. I'm gonna go ahead. This song is 5 minutes long. I will play up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds of it. Just go get, please, sir, kind sir, please go get Good Friends in a Bottle of Pills by Pantera.
All right.
I saw this many times, smothered by the words lashed out from your mouth. You'll pay the price cracking all the shit you said. It flowed like it would never end, led by the unstable, sick fantasies. You chose to be this one.
Song is a fucking mess. It's just a fucking hot mess of nonsense. I'm hearing Good Friends in a Bottle of Pills. I'm hearing a little Five-Finger Death Punch, like the preachy, talky parts of some of those songs before it gets good again. Good being a relative term, right, Coop?
Very, like a West Virginia family reunion. Hi, Teasley.
And yeah, what else did right about as I turned it off, I was starting to hear something else. Oh, what was it? I was like, oh, well, that's reminiscent of this. Oh, Machine Head. Right about where I cut it off, I was starting to hear Machine Head, and that's when I'm like, this is nonsense.
Yeah, that's a good ear.
Thanks. I do a podcast about music. All right. Let me see if it actually.
Under the peas, sir.
Under the
peas.
Okay. Here we go. There it is. All right. Check this out. They really should, instead of calling this Machine Messiah, they should have been called just Derivative.
Well, you were really let down by this album. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, we are rolling into 2017 deep, man. Holy shit. Remember how 2016 was the year of the disappointing albums? Well, apparently 2016 ain't over yet.
Just continues to shit on everybody.
What was that?
Go ahead, Coop.
I said it was recorded in 2016.
Oh,
there you go.
It's got 2016 stank all over it.
Uh-huh. It's like it slept with the fucking Grim Reaper. And not the band.
This fucked 2016, and it got that 2016 chlamydia all over it.
Drop. That's not the applause I want.
All right. Should we do bonus tracks and get the fuck out of here?
You know what's funny? We started this by being like, you know what? This album isn't that bad. And then at the end of it, Mark's just like, kill me.
Look, I'm like not a bad mood or anything. It's not like I'm falling asleep on this podcast, or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just,
not again.
Yeah. Well, the amphetamines help, but I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm not digging it. What's my problem, Jesse? What's psychoanalyze me? Why do I hate? Why do I hate this? Why do I suddenly hate this album?
My only guess is that you had high hopes, and
he's got
high hopes. We've got. Where were you, Cooper? We were doing
and I will tell you, I will tell you, we may have pissed you off because you came back into Walmart/Lowe's talk when you got kicked off your fucking computer. That's not a good way to start a podcast.
I was very disappointed. You know how you get all
ruined
dad
the whole
on
album
me?
for him.
You get all dad on me on your podcast because, by the way, did I offend your friend from the Kapow podcast?
Who? Cliff? No, shit, no.
I was going to say, did he get off the podcast and be like, please don't put me on with that asshole guy again?
Who's
I don't know
this guy?
why he hates women or what his problem is, but no more of that. I felt ambushed.
I think he had a good time.
Oh, good. Okay. I listened back. No, I couldn't have listened to that, but I was thinking back about all the stuff that I was saying and the goofy things I was talking about. I'm like, shit, did I offend this guy? He doesn't really know my sense of humor.
He listens to the podcast. He's listened to source material quite a few times. I think he follows it. So he's heard your sarcasm and your brand of humor quite a bit on there.
Okay.
I'm sure he was ready.
And he came on anyway. All right, brave soul.
Yes, that's right.
By the way, I know I'm trying to rap, but I keep having these other things I want to bring up. I listened back to the third part of our Flintstones discussion where we spent an hour talking about polyamory, which wasn't in the comic book.
It wasn't. It wasn't, dude. And I sat there and thought the same exact thing. I was like, shit, they really didn't touch on that at all in that issue.
They touched.
I was like, well, it made for a good discussion.
They touched on traditional marriage. They touched on traditional marriage versus the idea of, in a way they touched on polyamory. They basically, the sex cave was them basically saying you don't take a mate for life, you just have sex where you find it.
Exactly.
So in a way we talked about it, but it was a very, very modern spin on an old idea. But yeah, like specifically referencing it, it wasn't in the comic book at all. And boy, did we talk about it forever. It was a great,
man.
Like I know I was part of it, but I still felt like it was a great discussion. And I don't know if a few years ago when you started doing source material, you would find yourself having a sociological discussion of marriage, relationships, in the polyamory society. Did you get off that show and be like, what has become of my life?
Oh, hell no, man. I enjoyed that conversation immensely. Coop, can you believe that topic came from a Flintstones comic? A Flintstones comic.
As long as it had Halle Berry somewhere in it.
Is she in the movie or something with John Goodman or something?
She is.
Who does she play?
some made up, like,
I don't know.
sexy,
Probably
like assistant
Felicia
to
Rockboob.
Mr. Stone.
Okay.
I like my name, Felicia Rockboob.
We had
What the Rock Boobs? That's the porn star. her and her bad surgery boulder titties. Speaking of bad things, I think wasn't Rosie O'Donnell in like wasn't she Betty in the original?
yes.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
But
All right.
But yeah, who'd have thunk that the Flintstones could bring across polyamory? At least your podcast recorded, Mark.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Well, no, because what I did mine was Jesse. It was 2 parts, and part 2 was like,
Dude, we went for 2 hours plus, me, Ronnie, and Coop, and it was our second episode on Vinland Saga, and the fucking thing did not record. And this was a long time ago. We were doing by Skype.
I was going to say that must
a
have been
big portion.
That must have been when you were like, fuck Skype, fuck recording. We're doing everything on YouTube now.
Yeah, if I can do it on YouTube and just go back and rip it and edit, that's the way I'll do it from here on out, because that really burned me. Because we had a great discussion, didn't we, Coop? I mean, shit, we had a fun. We were touching on all sorts of shit in that episode. I can remember us talking about like getting pissed off at our parents and all the stupid shit we'd done, or at least the stupid shit I did. And none of it recorded, and I was jaded after that. I was so mad.
Well, let me tell you
we
something.
haven't had an episode soon.
Let me tell you something about Robert Cooper. He jinxes podcasts, okay? He jinxes
He does.
them. He curses podcasts because I made a point of going on his buddy's podcast. I took my hard-earned time. The Three Beards, that's correct. I went on the Three Beards to promote their podcast. I brought my brand to the Three Beards to promote them, and it's now like the unaired super secret probation episode that no one ever heard because it didn't fucking record or whatever. So I blame Robert.
Yeah. Don't worry, there was one episode I was on up there where my audio just was out of sync, so they just didn't put my audio in and just aired it anyways.
Nice.
I was like that was the episode where I was pretty much like,
you out?
Well, we would record separately, and then we'd had somebody piece it together with editing.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I think because he wanted like the best sound quality, but really,
fuck that noise.
Yeah, like it was a fucking mess. So like one episode, it was like 7 people on the other side, and they just kind of kept talking over me. That happened about 2 weeks in a row. But that second episode, like they didn't add my stuff, and it didn't matter. So I was like, all right, I see how this is going.
Yeah,
my buddy from work came on TV Party Tonight last night to do Cooked plugs, and I because what she had told me was she dropped her cell phone, it broke. She had to go use her son's like shitty cell phone. So for the first like 2 minutes of her talking, she's all Master Control from Tron, and I'm like, oh no, not this again. And I don't want to say anything because she's never been on a podcast before, and I really like her. No, but she's never been on a podcast before, and I didn't want to scare her off and be like, "Your sound sucks. Dial back in, bitch." So I didn't want to do that. I was just like, kid gloves. You got to treat this one good because you want her to come back, and she's never, and it's not like she knows my personality. She works with me. She knows that I'm a charmer, but I didn't. But she but doing a podcast is different. So than having to work with somebody. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna let her talk through this. She's not completely inaudible. She's just it's like when I go robot sound, you can still understand me. I just sound like Master Control. And by the way, I keep doing that reference. Anyone know what the fuck I'm talking about? What anyone see the original Tron?
It's been a long time.
I'm so old.
Sequel.
Well, when's the last time you watched it? You could have watched it like maybe a few weeks back or something.
I have not. I just remember. You know what it is? I will always remember the movie Tron because one of my father's catchphrases is "end of line," which I totally stole from him, and now I do it. I've been doing it for years, and that's from Tron. End of line. Anywho, so let's play track 11. This is Chosen Skin. This is a bonus because I'm a bonus track. You know, if they had spent the entire album with those kinds of songs, I'd have been fine with it. I would have said they're channeling Pantera, but I mean, somebody should, seeing as the people that used to be in Pantera don't channel Pantera anymore. So it's a total ripoff of the Pantera style, but I still liked it. Coop?
It's solid.
Okay. Jess?
I agree. It's a heavy one, and I would have liked to have heard more of this type of music on the whole album, but it is what it is.
All right, this is the last song, and Coop, you insisted that we play this. I know nothing about this, so you introduce it and tell me when to hit the button, Master.
Wait. We have to intro this song real quick by the fact that Coop sent us a message at 3:00 in the fucking morning, like 2 days ago, in all caps about this fucking song. All right, now, Coop, please continue.
Okay, so from the fact I do a Tokusatsu podcast, in theory.
Do you?
Yeah, in theory. In theory.
Some other dimension.
Yeah, I've talked to like my co-host like 3 times this year. Because every time I'm like, hey, who's Zombies? He's like, I hate work. I'm like, okay. You're going to be depressed and, like, be gay. It's weird. Quarter-life crisis is a thing, I think. Anywho, so I was looking at the track listing for this, and I saw Ultra 7 no Ute, which I'm like, I don't know Japanese, but I know that's Japanese. I'm like, Ultra 7. Oh, boy, I think I know what this is. So, without further ado, play it, Mark, or Jesse, or play it.
Whoops,
that sounds like
button.
the same thing.
Once again, one more time, Coop.
Oh, now I got to introduce it again?
Just tell me.
No.
You know what? Fuck, never mind. What the actual fuck? What the hell was that?
That was a metal version of the 1967 Ultraman series, Ultra 7, as done by Sepultura. I was so excited because I'm like, well, here's the thing. Tokusatsu, for here, it was Power Rangers in the 90s. In Brazil, it was very big in the 70s and 80s. 80s, they got a lot of series, Super Sentai series like Flashman, Bioman, Changeman. Those are their big three ones. But they also got a few Ultraman series, if I'm not mistaken. So I really feel like this is them just kind of having some fun and doing something nostalgic, which I was excited because I'm like, oh boy, an Ultraman theme. That was from 67. I didn't realize this show is that fucking old. I remember the original was 66, but I thought Ultra 7 would at least have been mid-70s.
Any ideas why they chose to do this song?
I just explained it.
Sorry, my bad.
I thought,
and you accused me of not listening.
No, I heard him. I thought he was talking about the show itself. I didn't realize that.
No, I was talking about the production, like the airing history in Brazil.
I see.
No,
okay,
I don't know.
Gotcha.
I've never seen the show, but no, it's. I really feel like Tokusatsu is a big thing in Brazil. At least it was. I'm not sure about now. But I feel like this is the band, because, I mean, the guys in the band are all probably in their 50s or so this would have been something that aired in their childhood. So it was just kind of them having some fun.
Very
I was
cool.
just absolutely over the fucking moon, because I was like, oh. This is the equivalent of, like, that time Bonded by Blood covered the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme.
Oh, yes.
So I have to ask, though, why would you make me play this now and waste it when you could have played it on the cover show and gotten yourself a point from Jesse?
Jesse wouldn't have picked this.
He might have.
You never know. You just never know.
Well, you know what? Y'all are going to have forgotten about this by then.
No, I'll remind him. And I'll remind him to deduct a point from you.
Yeah. Exactly.
His song.
I can hear it right now. Sir, I request that you disqualify that song. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom.
I feel like Jesse's saying I'm petty.
Oh, no. You're just thorough, sir.
That's what they say about me. You're not petty. You're just thorough.
You're thorough.
You're like Henry David.
That's a smart joke, Koopy Coop.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Radulich. I was really worried nobody was going to laugh. I was going to have to explain it, and then we're going to be like, no, we got it. It just wasn't funny. I get that all the time.
I don't know what this wee shit is, but hey, whatever.
That's such a
you didn't get it, Jesse?
I did not get it. Henry, what was the name? Henry what?
Oh,
Henry
God.
David Thoreau.
No, I have no
He's
fucking
a philosopher. He's a 1700s philosopher, Henry David Thoreau.
Are you're going to tell me that's not a reach? Like that's just a fucking given?
I got it immediately.
Bullshit.
No, he said he's Thoreau. And I said, he's Henry David Thoreau.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. All right. Now, see?
I fucking killed Mark with a shitty pun. This is great. This is the greatest day in the history of our sport.
You know what I laughed at? By the way, he was born in 1817. You were close.
Fuck me.
You know why I laugh at that? Because, like, you have to know who the guy is in order to get that joke. Obviously, you have to know. You've had to have read. I think it's Walden is the one that I'm familiar with. Have you what? Wait, what the fuck? Why do you like run with Walden's?
I remember I had a teacher in high school that just fucking hated Walden. Like, I'd bring it up to her just to see if she gets any, like, Dom flashbacks.
Dude, Walden is fucking amazeballs. No.
She hated Walden so much. I think she had to read it, like, 5 times in high school.
Oh, no, that would be terrible. But I read Walden when I was in high school, and I want to say it's Henry David Thoreau and Walden that I quote quite often. You know, like I went into the woods to live. Oh shit! What? I always fuck up the last word. I went into the woods to live something. Oh man, help me out here, guys.
Nah, sorry.
If I can't
Help
get
me
the
out,
fucking
Jesse, who's
correlation
never heard of
between
this
Thoreau
person.
and Thoreau, you're asking me for help?
All right,
Fucking go somewhere else.
Yeah, he's 1850s transcendentalist author. That's what he was. My bad.
Yeah, and when I was in honors English, we did a whole unit on transcendentalism. How did we get here on a metal podcast? Okay.
Walmart.
So
Our
here,
life is frittered
the-
away by details. Simplify, simplify. Things do not change. We change. Rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth.
All right.
There's
here,
some Thoreau quotes.
There you go. Very thorough.
That's what I thought he was doing.
Okay. All right. Here, right now, before we close out on the metal fucking hammer of doom, baby. Here's the metal for you. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear, nor did I wish to practice resignation, unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. I love that quote. I live that quote. At least I try to. That's Henry David Thoreau, Jesse Starcher. And see
nice.
See what you started, Robert Cooper, with your silly puns? Now you
When
got
did
me
he
on the
commit
first
suicide?
Well, at least it's not career suicide.
No,
'Cause that's not real suicide. Career suicide's a lie, you know.
That's right.
Oh,
It's all right.
God.
It's all right.
Throwing it to some woods. Talking about woods.
Yeah,
Going to the woods.
Yeah, there you go. There's some wood to be prey, yeah.
There you go.
All right,
I get that reference.
He died in 1862 at the ripe old age of 44.
Yeah, he probably fucking hang out in the woods and got gangrene.
That's where the gangrene hangs out.
The gang.
We're done now.
The New York Jets just sit over there.
Bunch of fucking thugs hanging out in the woods. What are you guys? We're the gangrene. Well, fuck this.
Like,
I'm not going out
man,
to the woods to live.
You know, you're not too far
man.
off. Thoreau contracted tuberculosis in 1835 and suffered from it sporadically afterwards. In 1860, speaking of contracting tuberculosis, you know what I've discovered about working in a jail? We arrest a lot of hot girls with nasty diseases. Like we get these
You're saying I
pretty
need to
hot-
watch out on my dating sites.
I'm just saying, like, don't pick up chicks in a jail. Because we bring in some pretty hot-looking broads, and then it turns out they got, like, the chlamydia, you know, they got the tuberculosis, the hep C, and it's just like, ooh.
Oh. Does Admiral Akbar show up and be like, it's a clap?
Jesus gravity.
Okay, I'm done. Tap it out.
Mark clocks in at work, and then there's fucking Admiral Akbar sitting. It's a clap.
That's a clap.
Some hot chick will come down, and I'll be like, "Oh, you're hot, so I'll be sympathetic towards you. It's all right, you know. They're there, sweetie." And then it's like I open the chart up, and it's just all this Pandora's box is fucking opening. I was like, "Oh, you've got Hep C and HIV."
Oh no, she's got Pandora's box.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's not a
problem.
good thing to have.
That's the problem is Pandora was showing her box all over the jail, and out came all this yuck.
I think that must have been her stripper name, Pandora. Just wait till you open Pandora's box.
Get your dollar bills ready for Pandora's box.
I think they should save them for their doctor visit after.
It's always the shittiest albums that produce the funniest shows. That's awesome.
That's
right.
your opinion, Mark Radulich. Our opinions here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network may not match your own, people.
All right. Real quick. So, Sepultura, Machine Messiah, I'm going to give it a B-. It's whatever. Jesse?
B- actually seems kind of generous coming from you.
That's kind of high.
I'm grading
took me
on
by
a curve.
surprise. I was like, well, shit. Well, for my second Sepultura album, I found myself knowing that this did not jump out and grab me. I wasn't awed by too many tracks off of this album. There wasn't anything that stood out, and I said, okay, well, that's the sound I like. Thing is that if I liked a song, it was hard to find anything else similar to it on the album. You could like one song and then go and try and listen. It's not there. One thing we can say,
it was like a nuclear blast compilation, but the same band every track.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing we can say is that it does not suffer from the old samesies.
No, it's quite the opposite.
It's quite far from it. So, as for a rating, I'll give it. I'm going to give it a thumbs up because I didn't hate it. So, how's that?
Okay. Welcome to 2017. The bar is low. like one's marrow is low. Go ahead, Coop.
Marrow is low. Why? What did fucking Pandora give him?
Go ahead, rate your album.
Okay, this album here is a solid album. Really, I feel like it is an improvement over a lot of some of their other content. I'd give it about 2.5 stars, about a 5 out of 10. There's some really good stuff here. There's some good songs, but overall, it's kind of muddled and inconsistent. Again, I like variation in an album, and I really commend them for trying to go for that. But at the same time, I really feel like they kind of missed a few jumps here in their Mario game.
All right, so when I advertise this show on Facebook, I'm going to put, tonight on the Metal Hammer of Doom, we were supposed to be discussing Sepultura, Machine Messiah, but somehow talked about Primus, Henry David Thoreau, and Get Your Dollar Bills Ready for Pandora's Box.
And Walmart.
I didn't do the Thoreau joke. That was you, pal.
Well, I set us up. You're welcome.
Okay. Gentlemen, this was fun. I was not totally, once I heard the album, I was not excited about talking about it. But as usual, you took a shitty topic and made it a fun show. So I applaud you. All right, here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, we had our third part of as mentioned earlier, we had the third part of our Flintstones episode on source material this past Monday. Yesterday, as I said, we talked about Michael Pollan's Cook from Netflix on TV Party Tonight. Tomorrow, Gavin and I will finally review There Will Be Blood. Next week starts the 7-episode series of So What You Reading. Right, Jesse?
That's right.
The 7 parts.
Yeah. Throughout the year, just sprinkle them in there.
So yeah, well, Jesse starts his So What You Reading special. Cooper, are you going to be ready to record Tuesday? Are you going to be ready for a 9:30 recording time of TV Party Tonight, Voltron Legendary Defender Season 2?
I'm not sure.
God damn it, Cooper.
Good, a great answer.
Y'all can talk. I'll Sorry, I'm looking at looking on Chronos. That's what we use for our scheduling, which is funny because this job has really fucked up my how a week works for me. Because here the week starts on Saturday. So,
all right, are you working? What's your deal, man?
I don't know. I have to acknowledge that I'm voluntarily viewing my work schedule, because if I don't, then I can't, because they're like, you're working out. The working outside of work laws here are fucking garbage. Fuck, I have to work next Tuesday. I am off next Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, what time do you work till Tuesday?
10.
God damn it. What's the earliest you could record on Tuesday?
Noon.
No, I have to work, you dick. I mean, what's the what time? What is the earliest after work you can record?
Oh, that's what time I got. I thought I'll probably record at like 10:15.
Great. We'll set the show for 10:30.
Okay. Yeah, I guess because that only takes like an hour probably. I didn't even know that fucking series was coming out. Looks like I got something to binge watch this week.
Yes, you do. All right. So special to start time of 10:30 next week here on TV Party Tonight. Voltron: Legendary Defenders Season 2 from Netflix. Robert Cooper is going to be just getting off work and get ready to record. Right. And then we'll be back next week for fun and frivolity here on the Metal Hammer of Doom. We'll be reviewing the new Firewind, Immortals. And then our second episode of On Trial, Inception, will be Thursday. Our second episode of On Trial will be this Thursday, the 26th. And we'll be looking at Inception. So the week after that, probably more So What You're Reading. And then TV Party Tonight, Fuller House Season 2. Metal Hammer of Doom, creator, Gods of Violence. And right now, I don't have anything for Thursday, February 2nd. Maybe I'll just take a day off. Or we'll be doing that. Yeah, really. Or Gavin and I will do another review of The Master, since that's another one that I promised him. So trying to honor my debt to Gavin, since the Gambit movie looks to be not going to happen. All right, Jesse, you want to do any plugs or anything?
No, you pretty much covered everything here. Just make sure to go give the Radulich and Broadcasting Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. There's obviously the Metal Hammer of Doom. There's my podcast, the Source Material Podcast. And Screaming Boy every once in a while pops up on there. We got all sorts of other great shows. On Trial just aired not too long ago. So check it out. You can stay up on top of all that great stuff there. That's pretty much it. You covered my shows for me, so we're good. I'm good to go.
You want to cover the podcast you're not doing there, Coop?
Oh, the one I'm not doing, or the ones that I'm not doing?
Whatever.
All right, so there's this podcast. I tend to do this podcast, so I guess I really can't plug this, can I? Sentai Rider Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Sentai Rider Podcast. That is SENTAIRIDER podcast. Yeah, no idea what's going on there, but I'm still watching it, so maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll pull Robert Winfrey and just one-man show this shit. I don't know. Then there's my buddy Sean Garmas, WTMnet.com, Wrestling to the Max. He told me he'd start posting these shows when he remembered. Oh, well, I mean, he's doing it for free, so what can we say? How dare you? Yeah, that's a thing. Keep your eyes out. Still want to start writing. It's just I can't hear out of my left ear, and haven't been able to hear out of my left ear for over a week, so kind of reviewing music's been a little bit of a challenge at times. Because, headphones and all. Fucking cold, I swear. Anywho, yeah, that's plugged. Boy, have we come a long way. I used to take 15 minutes. Now it's Mark's job.
All right, we've had a lot of fun tonight. We've made a lot of jokes, but all the good things must come to an end, and even some bad things. So we'll be back next week. For Jesse Starcher, for Robert Cooper, I am your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified. Mr. Mark Radulich, be well, be safe, and behave.
Stay away from hookers. I guess the hammer is doing place. See how it is.
Got to get
This iHeartRadio station is brought to you by Vitamin Water.
It's time to talk about the hidden dangers of opioids. Addiction can happen fast. Dependence can start in as little as 7 days. So talk with your doctor or dentist about alternative pain control treatments. And if you need to take opioids, learn how to safely use and store them. Opioid addiction is a problem we can't ignore. Take control of your care. For more information and resources on opioid addiction, go to cfbhn.org.
Central Florida Behavioral Health Network is a managing entity contracted with the Department of Children and Families.
Use only as directed.